Hello, welcome to episode 100 of Squash Shots. This is Chris Hanbury from Serious Squash, and today I thought I would put together some of my favorite kind of one-leg exercises where it's called unilateral training, which is excellent for squash because obviously a lot of times you have to be in lunges. And because we play so much off our dominant leg, which if you're right-handed means your right leg dominant, we just get more developed on that one half of the body. So you're going to find that you're generally going to have better balance on one side, which is generally your non-dominant side. And then you're going to have better strength on the side that you use all the time. So these kind of exercises are ones that I wish that I knew about when I was younger. I think would have helped with just being a better overall athlete, avoiding injuries. And I think I would have really moved a lot better on the squash court. I would have been much more comfortable, playing shots on either leg. And I think this is something that, every athlete should be trying to work on because it really does challenge you. And, I think it's something you can add into the gym, and it's not just about doing regular squats, regular deadlifts. And you'll see there's a lot of little variations of these types of exercises. And even though I've worked on some of these for years, I'm still struggling with a lot of them, and they are very challenging for me. And, so I think you can just maybe pick notes and see which ones you really think are effective for you. But just, I tried to put together as many as possible that I thought would be very useful and something, you don't need to do all these in one session, but something you could definitely take out a few of them and put into your circuit. You can add weights, you can have no weights depending on your level and your ability for certain exercises, and you can incorporate them into even part of your warm-ups, right? Just being able to actually, doing some lunges, doing some side lunges, doing some one-leg deadlifts, just to really activate your glutes and strengthen your posterior chain, your hamstrings, which I think a lot of squash players get strong quads, but their hamstrings are much weaker because we don't generally do a lot of training for those muscle groups, but they are really important to have in squash. So there's a few different ways you can do this exercise. I'm doing kind of the more novice way where you sit down on 2 feet and then stand up on one leg at a time. But as you'll see in a second, you can also just go back down and on the one leg. So you're basically working up to a full pistol squat, which is one of the more difficult kind of one-legged exercises that you can do. So again, how many reps you do is again, tailor it to your own program. I was just trying to come up with, the variations of exercises. And these are all ones that I either use for people when I'm coaching, doing group training, or I do myself when I'm doing my own training as well. So yeah, you can see there's lots of ways to make each exercise a little bit more difficult as you get better. So start with the simpler ones, and then you start to go and make it a little bit more challenging as you improve. So I think the one before this, you start with that, you build up to this, and then you maybe work your way up to actually the pistol squats, which are coming up at the end here soon. But after this exercise. So I just want to thank everyone for supporting me, especially the last year. I know squash has not really been on a lot of people's radars. There's not been many tournaments or any tournaments really for most of us, and a lot of us aren't even able to play on the court. So I'm sure a lot of people are, not as motivated as they were to, play squash, to train, to learn about squash, to invest in their squash training. But yeah, there's still, a pretty good sized group of you guys that are still supporting me on Patreon. So really appreciate it. I'm also going to put down below, if you haven't already seen it, a link to a couple of documents if you want a free copy of I did my master's project on anticipation decision making in the front part of the squash court for professional squash players. So it was pretty detailed, and I know most people are probably going to be like, oh my god, this is really hard to read and nerdy, but it did take it probably a year to write it. So pretty proud of what I did there, and so you can have a free copy with that link. And then also just the Sports Ecology workbook that I've been working on over this kind of lockdown over the last 8-10 months. So the most updated copy, there's a link down there as well. So hope you guys enjoy that, and you can try some of these exercises, and I'll keep trying to bring you some new insightful, helpful squash videos with episode 101 coming next week.